rang the bell.
Yes, Felix, you can take away the tea table now.
Very good, ma'am.
And bring some ice in a few minutes.
Yes.
Allô? Allô? Oui. Voulez-vous demander à Madame de monter tout de suite? Come in.
How are you, Linda?
I'm all right, I think. It was good of you to come so promptly.
It was a bit of a scramble getting up from the country and one thing and another. But Gilly organized it with her usual efficiency. I expect you remember Gilly. She was George's secretary for years.
Of course, I remember her quite well.
You don't seem to have changed a bit.
Neither do you.
These are the sort of things people always say to each other when they meet again after a long time. It's almost exactly 7 years, isn't it?
Yes, 7 years.
Considering that this isn't a particularly comfortable moment, don't you think we'd better sit down?
Of course, forgive me. Would you like anything to drink?
Not quite yet, thank you.
I've ordered the ice. I told him to bring it in a few minutes. I didn't think he'd get here quite so soon.
Your chauffeur is an excellent driver. It was kind of you to send a car.
It was the least I could do.
Yes, in the circumstances, I suppose it was.
I apologize for being so hysterical and incoherent on the telephone last night. I was rather in a state.
You were certainly incoherent. However, I managed to gather that something fairly serious had happened. I presume it concerns George.
Yes. Yes, it does.
He hasn't had an accident, has he?
No, he hasn't had an accident.
He hasn't run off with anyone else, has he?
No, Anne, he hasn't run off with anyone else. Even if he had, you would hardly be when I should send for to comfort me. I'm not entirely devoid of taste or common sense.
It's such a long time since I've seen you that I seem to have forgotten both your assets and your defects.
I would be the last to complain about your perfectly natural antagonism towards me, but I think you would be wise to submerge it for the moment.
I would prefer to decide that for myself when you've told me exactly what's happened.
Your manner makes it difficult for me to explain anything at all. You must have realized that it wasn't for my sake that I asked you to come here. It was for George.
Why?
Because he's going to die.
How do you know?
The doctor told me last night. His name is Pasquier. He's a brilliant man. It was he who gave George the checkup last spring and advised him to have the operation.
Operation? What operation?
Didn't George tell you about it when he was in England last summer?
No, he did not.
It was apparently quite trivial. A small cyst under his left arm. Pasquier said it would be a good idea to get rid of it. So George went into the clinic for a couple of days and had it cut out. Nobody seemed to attach too much importance to it. We stayed on here for about a week so that it could be dressed. Then we went to Corsica as we planned.
I remember. Send me the usual routine postcards.
Would you rather he hadn't?
Mind your own business.
If I were you, Anne, I wouldn't indulge in your personal bitterness now. There's very little time. You'll have to make an effort to forgive me my trespasses, outwardly at least. For his sake, he will leave you.
How flattering of you, to be sure.
Once and for all, will you stop talking like that and even feeling like that? This is a desperate emergency.
In the circumstances, isn't it a little arrogant of you to dictate to me how I should speak or feel?
No, it is not. In these particular circumstances, there is no room for wounded pride, or remembered heartbreaks, or any other form of self-indulgence. The situation between you and George and me has existed for 7 years. I said a moment ago that you will have to make an effort to forgive me my trespasses. I added outwardly, at least. That was the operative phrase. I don't give a damn whether or not you truly forgive me, or despise me, or hate me, or love me. You made your gesture by coming here. For God's sake, carry it through.
What did this Dr. Pascal say exactly?
That there is no hope whatever. That George will die within 9 months, possibly sooner.
What's the disease? What's he to die of?
It's something called melanoma. He explained it to me carefully, but I'm not very good at medical technicalities. It has something to do with the secondaries occurring as a result of this being removed.
Is this Dr. Pascal infallible? Has he suggested calling in any other consultants?
Several doctors have been consulted. George has been in the clinic for the last 3 days. They performed a minor exploratory operation. The findings were malignant.
I see.
And that is what Pascal came to tell me last night. He was fairly blunt and absolutely definite.
When is he coming out of the clinic?
Tomorrow morning.
And how is he now? I mean, is he in any way ill?
No, he feels perfectly all right. He'd had an anesthetic yesterday before the operation. They gave him a sleeping pill last night, and he said he slept like a dog. I asked him if he wanted me to come and see him this afternoon, but he said he'd rather be left alone to relax, get on with his James Bond. He was actually being considerate, I think. And he knows hospitals and clinics get into horrors. I'm glad he was considerate. It might have been a bit difficult after seeing Pasquier last night. I suppose I should have managed all right. But I am feeling rather strung up, and George is awful quick at thinking of his vibrations. And I'm sorry. I was so determined not to do this. It won't occur again, I promise you.
I think I'd like to talk to this Dr. Pascal.
Yes. Yes, I think you should. I have his home number written down. You can telephone him there. He said he'd be in between 7 and 8.
What's the time now?
Just 6:30.
It's absolutely certain, isn't it? I mean, there's no hope of them being wrong.
He's a wise man and sensible. I don't think he would have been so definite if you weren't so sure.
Does he speak English?
Yes, perfectly.
Has he given any indication as to whether George ought to be told or not?
No. We talked about that. He said it's one of the most difficult problems doctors have to cope with. Apparently, mortal illness carries with it a sort of compensating illusion, a subconscious refusal to face the fact of dying. He said that in such cases it was unwise and cruel to shatter the illusion. However, with some people, it's that not knowing is worse than knowing. I guess it all depends on character, on individual temperament.
I would be inclined to place George in the latter category.
Do you think he should be told?
Yes, I suppose that's what I mean.
Would you be prepared to tell him?
Is that why you sent for me?
No, Anne, that's not why I sent for you. I am perfectly capable of telling George the truth, alone, if it is necessary. But you couldn't expect me to make such a decision without consulting you. You'd never forgiven me if I had.
I should have thought by now that my forgiveness was immaterial to you one way or the other.
You're quite right, it is. It's also irrelevant. What is relevant is that you are still his wife. I am merely his mistress.
If I had agreed to divorce George years ago, and both you and he wanted me to, would you still have sent for me? would you still have needed my help?
If I consider that you loved him enough to be abused, yes.
Whether I love George or not has nothing whatsoever to do with you, Linda.
On the contrary, it has everything to do with me. Your love for him, coupled with mine, is all he has to hang on to. And for the next few months, all he has left of his life, he's going to need us both. And he's going to need us both on the best behavior we are capable of. I'm well aware that from the obvious conventional point of view, all the rights are on your side. You are his lawful wife, mother of his children. But if in this intolerable situation you intend to trade on those rights, you will not only be cruel, but stupid.
And what rights are you intending to trade on?
None, beyond the fact that he is still in love with me and I with him.
Are you sure that this romantic passion you feel for each other will survive the imminence of death?
Yes. I hope it will, and I think it will. But if I'm proved wrong, that will be my problem, and I will deal with it as best I'm capable of. In the meantime, you and I have got to come to some sort of an arrangement. When George is dead, and he is no longer here for either of us, we can indulge in orgies or recrimination if you wish. You can accuse me of taking your husband away from you, of breaking up your happy marriage. I can accuse you of vindictive self-righteousness, of refusing to divorce him so he can marry me. We can go through all the hoops and give vent to all the mutual bitterness that has been fermenting in us for years. But not yet. Not now. For so long as George lives, we're going to establish a truce. We're going to be friends. Close, intimate, loving friends. Is that clear?
Yes, quite clear, but out of the question. I have no intention of pretending something I don't feel for George's sake or anyone else's.
I think that sort of stubbornness indicates weakness rather than strength.
It's a matter of supreme indifference to me what you think.
It is not what you or I think that counts. It is how George feels.
You said just now that he was still in love with you and you with him. That surely should be enough to comfort him.
That was cheap and unworthy of you. You had his wholehearted love for 15 years. And even now you still have part of it.
I don't care for this sort of conversation, Linda. It's embarrassing.
I don't care for it either, but we've got to come to an understanding. You still love George, and you always will. Otherwise, you'd never have come here when I asked you to. I love George, and I always will. In a way, we're both in the same boat. And in a moment as tragic and desolate as this, it would be foolish to let our personal animosity rocket. Surely you must see that if we can make him realize that we are friends again, rather than enemies, it will make it easier for him to face what he has to face. Please, Anne, give in.
All right, I'll give in. There doesn't seem to be much else to do.
Is it a deal?
Yes, it's a deal. What do we do now, kiss?
We may need to later on. But I think now a strong drink would be more sensible.
I agree.
What would you like?
A brandy, I think, with a lot of ice.
I'll have the same.
I suppose I'm beginning to accept the truth of the matter. I don't think I did quite at first. What do you suppose they told him? The doctors, I mean.
I suppose they told him that the exploratory examination was satisfactory.
He has a sharp mind. He isn't the type to accept evasions without question.
I guess it all depends on whether he really wants to know. Perhaps the subconscious has already started the resistance process.
I doubt that, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I do. But we can't be sure, can we?
I must talk to that damn doctor.
I'll call him now.
Will I go to him or will he come here?
Whichever you prefer.
I think I'd like to talk to him alone anyhow.
Of course. Mademoiselle, voulez-vous me donner 43. Merci.
I suppose he's aware of the situation, between you and George, I mean.
Of course. We haven't discussed it, obviously, but... Hello? May I please speak with the doctor? Will he return from the clinic? Yes. What time? When he returns, will you have him telephone Madame Lavignac or Beau Rivage? Yes, it is urgent. Thank you very much. He'll be back within a half hour. I've asked him to come here. You should go to him, I think. My car will take you. It isn't very far.
How are we to explain to George about me being here? He'll suspect something's up the moment he sees me.
I've thought of that already. You stopped up here for a few days on your way to Italy. We met downstairs in the foyer and had a sort of rapprochement.
Why should I want to stop off here on my way to Italy? If I wanted to go to Italy, which I don't, I should go straight there.
You came to see Professor Boromelli.
Who on earth is Professor Boromelli?
He's the new miracle man here. People come from all over the world to see him. He's a highly controversial figure. Most doctors hate him and say he's a charlatan. But he has had a few spectacular successes with his injections. It's a special formula of his own, apparently.
What sort of injections?
I don't know exactly. Hormones or something.
What nonsense. George would never swallow that for an instant. He knows perfectly well that I don't go in for that sort of thing.
You may have been run down and overtired, and in some need of physical reassurance.
No, Linda, it won't work. Really, it won't. We shall have to think of something else.
What? What do you suggest?
When in doubt, stick to the truth, or as near to the truth as possible.
You mean tell him I telephoned you and asked you to come here?
Why not? You were naturally upset, and on a sudden impulse, you called me.
You'd know I wouldn't do that unless it were something really serious.
You can't fool George for long. I'm perfectly prepared to believe that in some cases, Dr. Pasquier's theory about the subconscious building a deliberate barricade against the truth is accurate. But George would never be one of those cases. He'll see through any foolish little conspiracy we cook up. You must see this as well as I do.
Yes, I do. But we can't be sure, can we? Really sure?
Of course we can't. Therefore, we can make no decisions as to whether George ought to be told or not. He must take the lead. He must dictate how we are to behave.
I'm so desperately frightened of making a false move, of taking a wrong step.
Well, don't be. Keep your mind clear. Be vigilant.
You'll come straight back after you see Pasquier, won't you?
Yes, I'll come straight back.
Would you like to dine up here in the suite, or would you rather go out somewhere?
I don't care one way or the other.
I think I would rather go out, if you don't mind. I am feeling rather overstrained, and there'll be a less likelihood of a sudden flurries of tears in a public place. There's a little restaurant perched high from the vines between here and Bebe. The food's good, and there's a lovely view across the lake.
All right. I'll go there. We could talk over old times.
Oh, Anne.
Don't worry, I wasn't trying to dig up the hatchet again. I gave you my word it was buried for the time being. I think I'd like a freshener.
Good idea. I'll have one too.
Actually, I meant it quite genuinely.
Meant what quite genuinely?
That we could talk over old times.
Oh, I see.
The future is miserable. The immediate present appalling, so ghastly in all its implications, that we can't go on discussing it indefinitely without undermining our self-control. The past will be almost a relief, even the painful parts of it.
I find it hard to imagine anything undermining your self-control.
I shouldn't bank on that if I were you.
I'm sorry, it was a disagreeable thing to say.
There's nothing to be sorry about. I quite see your point.
I see this isn't going to be easy for either of us.
I agree. That's why I proffered you that rather withered little olive branch. You could hardly expect it to be in full bloom.
I didn't expect it at all. It took me by surprise.
I was trying to remember that we were friends once, long ago.
Not so long ago.
made this drink extremely strong.
Mine's the same. I thought it might inhibit us a little.
Are you entirely sure that that would be a good idea?
It's worth trying. We can't spend the whole evening hating each other at full blast.
It might, on the other hand, work the other way and uninhibit us too much.
A risk worth taking.
Have it your own way.
Can you remember the first time we met?
Certainly I can. I pulled you out of the Suez Canal in 1943.
You always boasted that you did. But it wasn't as dramatic as all that. The brakes just failed and I gave in, glory and all. I must admit that if you hadn't come along with Major What's-His-Name, I might be sitting here now.
His name was Edgar Hetherington.
It couldn't have been.
I was driving him from Suez to Cairo. It was at Ismailia that you skidded. Actually, he was rather nice in a way.
I remember he let me a pair of slacks because mine were sodden, and he made roguish jokes while I put them on behind the car.
I also remember the orderly's face when we dropped you off at your base. And you were trying to hold up the trousers with one hand and return a salute with the other.
Whatever happened to him? Major Edgar Hetherington.
The poor beast got mumps 3 days later and everything swelled up. They're liable to you, though, if you get it when you go. And he had to be sent home. It's called hydro something or other, I believe.
It must be silly. It can't be phobia because that's mad dogs. So it must be silly. George.
Anne, what in the name of God are you doing here?
Hello, George.
Is anything wrong with Brian or Margaret?
No, Brian's in Scotland with Andrew, and Margaret went off to Spain with the whole Chisholm family. They've rented a house near Malaga for a month. I was left alone at home, so I thought I'd take a little jaunt.
Well, I'll be damned.
Are you all right?
Couldn't stand that damn clinic for another minute, so I nipped out when nobody was looking, took a taxi, and came home. What were you two laughing at?
And pulling me out of the Suez Canal, and Major Hetherington had me mumps.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We were reminiscing. War experiences. That's when Linda and I first met, you know, during the war. We were both driving people about Egypt.
I see. Or at least I think I see.
Sit down and have a drink. You must be tired.
I'm not particularly tired, but I will have a drink.
If it's for me, say I'm out and we'll call back later. It's probably Mariette Castra's. I ran into her in the foyer and she threatened to call about 7:30. I'll get George's drink. Whiskey or gin or vodka?
Whiskey, please, with plain water.
Ice?
No ice, thank you.
Hello? Oh, good evening. How nice of you to call. Yes, I did leave a message, but it doesn't matter now. Will you be at home later in the evening? Oh, I see. Just a minute while I take down the number. Thank you so much. Yes, I'll call you later, or early in the morning.
That was a mysterious little conversation.
It was Mr. Brevet at American Express. I keep canceling air tickets and wanting them again.
Well, you've got his number in case you want to cancel anything else.
Did you see Dr. Pesquet?
Yes.
What did he say?
Quite a lot of things. He was very uncompromising.
Don't keep us in suspense, George. It's rather nerve-wracking.
Linda asked you to come, didn't she?
Yes, she telephoned to me
When?
last night. I caught the afternoon plane.
That was after you talked to Pasquier.
Yes.
It was dear of you to come. What had you decided? Which of you was going to tell me?
We hadn't decided anything. We didn't know. We were waiting for you to show us what to do.
What did Pasquier tell you?
Exactly what he told you last night. That I'm going to die. Within the next 9 months, possibly, but probably within the next 3. I will not confuse and sadden you with all the details, but he promised me there's to be no pain. He's a kindly man, and I believe him.
It's absolutely certain, isn't it? I mean, there's no chance for wrong diagnosis?
Absolutely certain. Several doctors were involved. Of course, Pasquier was faced with the most recurrently difficult problem that a doctor has to face, whether or not to tell a patient the truth when he absolutely insists it. 9 out of 10 people sincerely believe that they wish to know their fate, but it's only the 10th that really means it. I finally managed to convince him that I was one of those 10th men. When he told me, I was shocked, but at the same time, infinitely relieved. I had a drink and smoked a cigarette, and lay there and stared at the white ceiling, and thought harder than I've thought for a long time. You see, I felt it was essential to come up with a point of view to offer you, Linda. Naturally, I didn't know that Anne would be here too. And the point of view I wish to offer you both is this, that I consider myself to be fortunate rather than misfortunate. These are not merely brave words to comfort you with, but to comfort myself as well. I've led a reasonably happy life, far happier than millions of my fellow creatures. I've done my job to the best of my ability, and I have a few regrets, a few remembered follies, but no complaints. Of course, I should have liked a little longer to rally my forces, but I have at least been guaranteed that I shall cease upon the midnight with no pain. So to hell with it. There's nothing else to do.
I'll be back in a minute. Don't be cross with me.
Everything forgiven and forgotten?
Forgiven at any rate.
I see so clearly why I married you.
Can you see equally clearly why you left me?
Yes, that too, except that I didn't exactly leave you. I just happened to fall in love with Linda.
It's more or less the same thing, isn't it?
No, it's not, and you know it. We went through it all at the time. You accepted the situation.
I hadn't much choice, had I?
You could have divorced me.
Never.
Why not? I always wondered why you were so stubborn.
The children, for one thing, and my pride, too.
Wouldn't your pride have been less humiliated if you'd gotten rid of me once and for all?
But I didn't want to get rid of you once and for all.
Oddly enough, you won your point.
That's good news, anyhow. A trifle bleak, perhaps, but better than nothing.
We should have had this scene before. I've been home several times. I've been back and forth between my two loves.
That's a nauseating little phrase, and you ought to be ashamed of such facile vulgarity.
I salute you.
Keep your damn salutes to yourself.
I'd like you to know that in spite of all betrayals, you're still a necessary part of my life.
Fine words, but curiously arid. They should have been spoken earlier. 7 years is a long time.
Longer than 3 months.
That was cruel of you. I don't need to be reminded that you have so little time left. I'm here to help, and I have no intention of confusing the issues by allowing emotion to override my common sense. I'll leave that to Linda. She's bellowing her heart out in the bedroom at this very moment.
I suppose I should be grateful for such a stringency.
Certainly you should. It will contract your spiritual tissues and help to keep your mind at rest. You have to set your house in order. There's no time to sit up in the attic opening old trunks, sorting out dusty, nostalgic souvenirs.
You're still in love with me when I upped and left you?
What does it matter if I were?
I really should like to know.
I see you insist on the old trunks in the attic and the shabby, disintegrated gollywall.
Oh, Anne, stop being so defensively articulate and answer my question.
Very well. I'll set your mind at rest. The answer is no. I was not in love with you when you upped and left me. Perhaps I was never in love with you in the way that you mean, but I cared for you deeply. There are so many different degrees of loving. How can one tell? One loves as much as one can. As you know, I've never been a particularly passionate woman. I see now, in fact, I've realized for a long time that that was where I failed you. But never believed that my heart was frigid. I gave you all I was capable of giving. When you went away from me, I was more unhappy than I'd ever been in my whole life. Naturally, after a while, I got over it to a certain extent, but I missed you. I still do. Perhaps I shall miss you less when you're dead.
Fair's fair. But don't consign me to the limbo too soon. I know I shan't mind then, but I do now. It makes me feel lonely.
None of that, George. None of that. Like the reeds at Runnymede, I may bend, but I will not break. So don't waste your time trying to make me.
Have you loved anyone else since me?
Do you mean, have I been to bed with anyone else?
If you choose to put it that way.
Yes, 3 times.
With different men or the same one?
Different. 3 times in 7 years isn't an abnormally high percentage.
Maybe not. But it seems oddly out of character.
Yes, I suppose it was. But it was sort of a search, really. I was trying to find out something.
What were you trying to find out?
Where I had gone wrong. Why I had let you down.
You never let me down.
Of course I let you down.
You mustn't say such things. I loved your body for many years.
Perhaps. But it didn't love you enough. That's why I went to bed with the others, to discover where the fault lay, if you were with me. It didn't work, really. I proved nothing. I felt nothing beyond a momentary, fleeting physical excitement. I still missed you and somehow resented you at the same time. I'm sure any psychiatrist could explain it to me in a minute, but I don't want to know. Not anymore. It's all too far away and the search is over.
I must come home again soon. See the house and the garden. How is it all looking?
Flourishing. I planted a row of tamarisks along the lower lane. They're doing very well.
And how's old Tom?
Old Tom's been gathered. Just as well, really. He was crippled with arthritis and very feeble. Young Tom has taken over, shining with goodwill and more idiotic than ever.
When was I last there? Time passes so quickly.
Nearly 2 years ago. You came for Brian's 21st birthday and we had a cocktail party on the lawn. Later we dined on the flag terrace, just us and that awful girlfriend of Margaret. She had a sort of nervous tic. It was a lovely, warm evening.
Oh, Christ. Fear is an ignoble enemy. Strikes at you suddenly, unexpectedly. I've always rather despised people who are afraid of the dark. Now I begin to see their point. When I was a little boy, I was extremely brave. I used to force myself to grope my way about the house in the middle of the night, reaching for familiar things. The round silver tray in the hall where people used to leave their visiting cards, the lacquered cabinet in the drawing room, and the china horse on the mantel in my father's study. I had to stand on the leather armchair to reach it. I had to prove to myself that these things were still there, in spite of the darkness. I wasn't commended for my bravery, however, because one night my hand slipped, and the china horse fell into the fireplace. I was severely whacked for it the next day, but I had at least proved that I wasn't afraid. Now there's to be no such thing. There'll be no china horses on the fireplace.
Perhaps the eternal darkness will be lighter than you think.
No, Anne, that won't wash. You know it won't. Not for me, anyhow. I know you still believe in the things you were brought up to believe in, but I don't. I know I've occasionally paid lip service to religious superstition, for appearance's sake, to spare people their feelings, but my mind refuses to accept hazy, undefined promises of life after death.
There's always a chance that you may be wrong.
Of course there is. But as I said before, I'm to be going on with life. It seems to me enough to be going on with.
If that's how you feel, hang on to it. No words can help from me or anyone else.
Of course, If in 3 months' time I find myself in some tinsel heaven or some gaudy hell, I shall come back and haunt you.
All right.
Don't let go my hand. Don't let go my hand.
Is that the Lancefield or the Poget?
The Lansing, madam. Signor Luigi considered it to be the wise choice because it is a most good view.
Thank you, Bill.
If madam would wish some canapes, I have them prepared.
I'll ring if we need them.
Bene, signor.
Has your friend recovered?
Si, signora. It was only a slight concussion. He was given 3 stitches in the head and sent on his way. But he is in most low spirits because the police took from him his driving license.
Perhaps that wasn't an entirely bad idea.
But it is not just, madam. For the young lady in the Alfa Romeo drove across the red lights.
Did she get a concussion too?
No, she was not hurt at all, but she was most deeply angered. The young lady was Swiss, and he is an Italian. Therefore, there was no true justice.
True justice is a rare thing. It is foolish to expect it.
È vero, signora. La signora ha ragione. Would madam wish anything else?
No, Felix, that will be all for the moment. Wish your friend well for me.
Oh, madam is most kind. A votre service.
You look wonderful.
So do you, darling. Red carnation and all.
I always wear a red carnation when I'm gambling. I have a feeling that it brings me luck. What time does the boat leave?
9 o'clock. I've ordered the car for 1:45.
But it doesn't take more than 3 minutes to get from here to the Embarcadere.
There might be a crowd. I always like to play it safe.
Did you ring up and reserve a table?
Of course. I also ordered some champagne. We might as well go the whole hog. Shall we open it now or wait for Anne? She'll be here in a minute.
Let's wait. We've got plenty of time.
Poor Felix has had a trying day. His great friend, the barman at the Hotel de la Paix, bumped into an Alfa Romeo on his motor bicycle and had 3 stitches in his head and his license taken away.
Italians shouldn't be allowed to ride motor bicycles.
Neither should anyone else. Do you really think this is going to work?
We must persevere.
I'll do my best. I'm quite determined to. But I can't guarantee how long it will last. I'm glad Anne is here. She'll keep me in order.
We must all keep each other in order.
She's stronger than I am.
In some ways, perhaps. But in other ways, she's more vulnerable.
What makes you say that?
Perhaps because I've only just realized it. In fact, I've realized quite a number of things during the last 24 hours. It's amazing how quickly the mind works when faced with such sudden urgency.
We're on dangerous ground. It may open at our feet and swallow up our little charade.
But it's more than a charade, Linda. Don't underrate it. Our only alternative is to knuckle under and abandon ourselves to wasteful tears and emotional chaos. But even that wouldn't last. Grief is no more durable than happiness. We must exhaust ourselves and each other. We can't snivel our way through the next few months just because one of us is going to die. We're all going to die eventually. There's too much spiritual defeat in the world today. Too much shrill emphasis on fear. Let's try to stay away from that bandwagon. Let's, in fact, try to behave ourselves.
Perhaps we should open the champagne after all.
I'll do it.
I expect Felix has loosened the wire. He's very efficient.
You're quite right. He has.
Shall we be going back to London immediately?
No. We shall have our 2 weeks in Capri as planned. I shall have to be back on the 2nd of next month anyhow. There's a general directors meeting. I also have some settling up to do. I shall take old Fielding into my confidence. I can trust him not to betray it. I don't want to have to put up with commiserating looks and tight-lipped sympathy.
Will part of the settling up include going back to Anne?
Of course it will. I've been back before. Nothing's changed.
Everything's changed and you know it.
Heightened perhaps, but not changed.
I minded you going back before. I shall mind even more now.
There, that sounds all right. Don't fuss, darling. I'm still in love with you.
You still love Anne, too?
I've never pretended that I didn't. Have a swig of champagne.
I have a ghastly feeling that I'm going to be the weak sister in our gallant little trio. The one who can't reach the top notes.
You're so definitely a contralto. It'd be foolish to try.
I must tell you something now, urgently, before Anne comes back. Bear with me. It will be a little sentimental, but I promise not to go too far.
Fire away. Fire away. I'm bracing myself.
I know we made a pact a little while ago, after I've been crying and making a fool of myself. I know we agreed that the only sensible way to behave was to go on as though there were no shadows closing in on us. But I must tell you now, before the performance gets underway, that the last 7 years have been the happiest of my whole life. Before we met and became lovers, I lived in a vapid, over-social vacuum. I went everywhere and I knew everyone. But I never looked clearly at myself. My marriage was a failure. My child miscarried. My divorce was thwarted and humiliating. But the fact of you loving me changed everything. It gave me a new point of view, something to believe in. I must tell you that I shall be grateful to you till the end of my days. This is a sort of spoken bread and butter letter. And look, I'm not even crying.
Thank you, my love. Thank you indeed. Here, you might pop a lump of ice into my drink. It's getting a bit tepid. You haven't forgotten your passport, have you? We'll have to show it when we land.
I have it in my bag.
Would you care for a little expensive champagne?
Yes, please, I would.
How are we for time?
Fine, there's no hurry.
I haven't been inside a casino for years. I'm quite looking forward to it. You'll have to give me some money, George. I hadn't time to get in the traveler's check.
Are you going to stick to roulette or have a bash at Chemin de Fer?
Roulette. I can never read the cards at Chemin de Fer. I get too flustered. At any rate, I'm much happier just watching. I wish now I brought a more glamorous dress. Next to Linda, I look like somebody's governess.
I know few governesses dressed by Molly New.
It's about 100 years old.
We shall be the only ones in the casino dressed up to the nines. It isn't a gala night. We shall stick out like sore thumbs.
I've often wondered why sore thumbs are supposed to stick out.
For that matter, why should we be dressed up to the nines as opposed to the 10s or the 20s?
I imagine there's a reason for it somewhere. I expect Mr. Fowler or Mr. Partridge would know.
It's curious that our two leading authorities on English idiom should both sound so ornithological.
Well, take Marmalade, for instance.
What on earth are you talking about?
I was thinking of the origin of the word and how it has become common usage. Marmalade goes straight back to Mary Stuart.
How?
When she was Queen of France, she was ill, and she took a fancy to orange preserves. Everyone said Marie Esmelet.
How fascinating.
Do you suppose that we shall be able to keep this conversation up to this level the entire evening?
You mustn't be crushing, dear. We're doing our best.
We agreed to behave as usual.
I know. It was a brave resolution, but like so many brave resolutions, it's liable to prove impracticable. Heroic gestures, unless carried out in the heat of battle with all flags flying, have a nasty habit of degenerating into anticlimax. We're all three of us far too intelligent not to realize that soon, very soon, the pretense may become more of a strain than the reality.
The reality has struck at us with dreadful suddenness, George. We hadn't time to prepare our defenses.
I know, darling. I know. But to attempt to silence the enemy's guns by throwing puffballs is worse than useless. If we maintain an attitude of artificial casualness, the tension will become intolerable. The supply of puffballs will soon run out, and the silences between us will lengthen.
What do you suggest? A sum of conference on life and death?
Not necessarily, but I am definitely against a policy of evasion.
We should be going to Geneva instead of Evian.
Some more champagne? There's a lot left in the bottle.
Certainly.
I'll do it. Shall I have Felix bring another bottle?
Oh, no, please not. I'm not very good at drinking a lot. It makes me sleepy and dull and sometimes rather disagreeable, and I don't want to be any of those things tonight.
Quite right. Life's going to be difficult enough anyway. Perhaps we should have decided on the little restaurant in the mountains after all. Deciding on Evian and gambling seems to me now to be overambitious. Running before we can walk. We might meet someone we know, have to smile and make conversation. We may also feel claustrophobic. Shut up in a hot casino, waiting for the boat to bring us back.
A quiet, romantic restaurant in the mountain would be more dangerous still. Beautiful views can be melancholy. Moonlight and stars and infinite distance are all right for young lovers, but for three middle-aged people trying to be brave, they could prove more claustrophobic than a crowded casino.
All right, Anne. I give in. It was only an idea. glass of champagne.
I hate to insert a harsh note into this gallant conversation, but your ghastly politeness is driving me mad.
Would you rather we snarled at each other?
It would certainly be more convincing and more honest.
Don't place too much value on honesty, George. It can be a rather overrated virtue.
It's one of the few things I'm fighting to hang on to, and I certainly can't win if I have to face you two cooing at each other like doves. For God's sake, let's chuck this bloody performance and get down to brass tacks.
What particular brass tacks had you in mind?
I don't know. I don't know, and I really don't even think I care. All I do know is that this is wrong, deeply wrong. We can't spend the next few months living out some loving affection for each other, which neither of us feel, and which, considering the situation between the three of us, neither of you could possibly feel. I'm going to die. I'm going to die, and what's more, I'm going to die alone. I resent being treated like an imbecile, and I resent your treacly compassion. We're all going to die alone. This matter is hard enough for me to face without your goddamn loving kindness, pity, and synthetic heroics.
But it isn't fair. You're not to say such things. Anne and I agreed to compromise because we considered that our feelings for you were more important than our feelings for others, for each other. There was nothing heroic about it. We did it for your sake because we wanted to help.
I know. But it won't work, can't you see? It won't work. I know you both too well, and I also love you both too well. I will not put up with tactful deceptions. The moment for me is too bitter.
Why, George, you're positively throwing us into each other's arms.
Excellent. A little lesbian frolic may take the burden of emotionalism off my shoulders.
You certainly have gone a long way away from us already.
Of course I have. It's train fever, I expect. I'm on my way to the station.
If that counts synthetic heroics, I should like to know what is.
I don't think I can bear any more of this. I really don't.
You could always retire to the bedroom again in tears.
I know I could, Anne. But however much it may disappoint you, I'm not going to.
Things are looking up.
What more does your obstinate masculine vanity require, George? What do you really want of us?
Truthfulness. A realistic view. Less tender, womanly understanding, and more horse sense.
Do all men who love women despise them so utterly?
That is a generalization I'm not prepared to analyze at the moment. I have more important things to think about.
Are we going to this damn casino or aren't we?
Of course we are. There's nothing else to do.
Well, I could always go back to England for one thing.
Do you want to?
In one way, yes. But the decision is up to you, George. You're the dying gladiator.
Anne!
Well, Linda, what do you say? Do you want Anne to go home now and leave us on our own?
This is the first time since we've been together that I've ever known you to be really cruel.
That doesn't exactly answer my question.
Your question was contemptible.
Well, Linda, what is it? Do you want Anne to go home now, tonight?
No. No, I'd rather she stayed.
What on earth made you say that?
Because I'm too miserable and exhausted to be able to cope with the situation by myself. Whether you go back to England tonight or not, George and I will not be on our own. I don't think we'll ever be on our own again. That's all over. You'll be with us whether you're here or not, so you might as well stay. The charade is over and everyone's guessed the word.
You're wrong, Linda. You're wrong. You neither of you guessed the word. You think the word is death, but it isn't. It's life. If only I could make you see this, there'd be no reason for us to continue this little charade any longer. I've just now broken the pattern of behavior we set for ourselves because I suddenly saw how completely false it was, and that it could only lead us further and further away from facing the ultimate reality that we all have to face. But while death is the ultimate reality, it's also a negative one. Courage and honesty and humor, on the other hand, are positive because they belong to life. And life, up until that last bewildering second, is all we have and all we know. is also our most important responsibility.
How do you suggest we set about it?
By divorcing your emotions from me as much as possible and being yourselves.
An interesting performance. I trust you will be around to correct us when we say the wrong lines.
Why are you so angry?
Because I find the situation infuriating.
No longer heartbreaking?
No. No longer heartbreaking at all.
Oh, Anne, don't. Please don't. Forgive me for being so bloody selfish. I didn't mean to be unkind.
I think I'd like a cigarette.
Would you care for some brandy, too?
Yes, please, I would.
I didn't mean to be unkind. It really isn't unappreciated. Really it isn't. All the effort, I mean.
Good, I'm glad.
Do as you want to do. Behave as you want to behave. I didn't mean to preach. You should have never married a publisher in the first place. You always said I was too in love with words.
It wasn't your words that defeated me. It was a sudden feeling of hopelessness. Please don't worry about me. I'm perfectly all right now. Thank you for the brandy, Linda. This isn't strained politeness. It's wholehearted gratitude. Are the children to be told?
Not yet, I think. A little later.
And when the time comes to tell them, will you or shall I?
You are closer to them than I am. I've seen little of them over the last few years. They'll be startled and saddened, but little more.
I think you underrate their feeling for you.
Brian will mind more than Margaret, which is curious, really, because it's usually the daughters who are closer to their fathers. But Margaret has never forgiven me for going away. Brian has. That's one of my few regrets. I love my son, and I am not to see what is to become of him.
Don't waste too much time on guilt, George. What's done is done. Brian will survive, so will Margaret, so will I. We've all three become used to your absence.
I envy you. You're better off than I am.
Yes, I suppose I am. I've become accustomed to my own kind of loneliness. Yours will be a different kind, because your temperament is more resilient and your character more adventurous. It always was. Once your immediate grief is over, you will begin to look about you. The world for you still holds a number of things. My children will eventually marry, I expect, and leave me alone. And oddly enough, the prospect doesn't depress me unduly. I shall be content to pull up a few weeds in the garden, do the Times crossword, and look at the sea. You will make more flamboyant demands and reap more dramatic rewards. One method is as valid as the other, and there is no blame attached to either. It is merely the fundamental difference in our characters. Scarlet women are seldom succeeded with such patrician tolerance. What nonsense. You are no scarlet woman. You are merely a compulsive amoureuse. Your heart longs for passionate love. Mine only longs for peace and quiet.
My God, moments of truth are clattering about us like hail.
It proves that our summer conference is progressing quite favorably.
Later on, will all these wise words still be available to companies? Or shall we have forgotten them and find ourselves back where we started, when we first knew, when the nightmare first began?
Don't minimize the value of words. They're our only currency, our only means of communication.
But we can't talk indefinitely. There will be moments just before sleep, and moments just after waking, when the realization comes, when we shall find ourselves without hope.
These things will have to be faced, along with everything else. We can't expect to escape scot-free, but the sharp impact will soon diminish, a lot sooner than you'd think.
I'm sorry to be the weak sister again, but I was brought up as a Catholic, and I feel the need for a more dogmatic, more professional consolation.
You mean that a priest's mumbo-jumbo would mean more to you than my graceless agnosticism?
Not the mumbo jumbo exactly, but the feeling behind it. The age-old wisdom, the reassurance.
I wouldn't mock at your faith, my darling, or question your hopeful prayers, any more than I would query Anne's sturdy Church of England rectitude. There is much age-old wisdom at the base of all religions, but for me, never enough. Human beings are intrinsically cruel. It's part of their inheritance. So it's not to be wondered that the gods they set up for themselves should be equally so. The old ancient Oriental despots are perhaps a shade less bombastic than our ruthless Christian dictatorship, but they one and all smile benignly at pain, suffering, and the blood of human sacrifice. Mother Nature is just as bad, but at least she doesn't hide her sadistic inconsistencies in an aura of sanctity.
You said just now that you were grateful, that your life had been fortunate. Isn't it an abuse of hospitality to speak so bitterly?
One may be received at Gestapo headquarters with utmost politeness, but that doesn't deaden the cries of the screams of the tortured in the rooms below.
Oh, George, please don't. Please don't. I can't bear it.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not denying the fact that life can be a wonderful gift, nor am I denying that man has achieved miracles of ingenuity, creativity, and loving kindness. I'm merely bewailing the fact that these achievements should be so offset by insensate cruelty, greed, fear, and conceit. I do not pretend to be infallible. I do not consider that I have been selected by some celestial agency to set the world right. I'm merely a reasonably observant man who is about to die and who refuses to be fobbed off with romantic fallacies and mysticism.
But you may find the mysticisms to become clear, and the romantic fallacies true.
So might heaven, hell, purgatory, the boogeyman, Santa Claus, and all the other nursery dreams. I make no claim to omniscience. I only know that I don't know. And faced with this, all the priests, scientists, philosophers, and witch doctors are all as ignorant as I am. I have no time to waste on profitless speculation. Less than ever now, and I intend to use my final days fortifying my mind against fear. Throughout the course of history, many men better than I have confronted the imminence of death with courage and equanimity. And I wish, if my will is strong enough, to be a member of their distinguished company. Nor will I permit myself the scared luxury of last-minute deathbed repentance. I wish to greet oblivion without apology. I wish for no cringing, subservient prayers for the salvation of my immortal soul. My immortal soul, whether it be an intricate combination of nuclei, chromosomes, and genes, or a spiritual abstraction, will have to take its chance, just as my mortal body has had to take its chance for the last 50 years. Every schoolboy has to face the last day of the holidays. That's the way I feel now. But at least I have time to recapitulate a few past enjoyments, to visit the cove where we had the picnic, to swim in the cave where we found the jellyfish, to swing once more on the wooden swing, to build the last sandcastle. I still have time to eat and drink and be reasonably merry, to say banco at the chemin de fer table, turn up a few nines and win a few colored plaques. All I ask is perhaps a little additional strength during the next few months to tide me over a few inevitable moments of weakness. That's the steamer. It always does that 10 minutes before leaving to warn latecomers. Come, my dear ones. We all have our passports. Mine is still valid for quite a while.